everyone. Welcome back to Just a Couple of Thoughts. I think this is episode 6. Man, we are doing it slowly but surely.
Yeah.
I'm Rebekah. This is my husband, Allan, and we're so excited to have all of you back with us. And today is exciting because we are doing part 2 of a topic we started last time. About talking about friendship in marriage after children come. Because dynamics shift, things change.
Right.
Is it possible to stay BFFs after them babies
After them
show
totos.
up? Them totos show up. And we have the cutest BFFs
Yeah.
ever of all times with us to do part 2.
Yeah.
And in case you missed the last episode, let me just introduce. This is Sammy and Anna Baita.
Yeah.
These are the high school pastors at Rebekah Lighthouse Church where you and I serve, babe.
Right.
And Anna's actually my younger sister.
Yep.
Younger, but has led me in many ways. Got married many years before I did. It's okay. I was waiting for this blessing to show up.
God's timing.
God's timing. But y'all been married 13 years, have 4 children, got to know each other as teenagers, kind of really truly fall in love as teenagers, but not really pursue it until 20.
Much.
So you've been you've been friends for how long? How many years have you been friends?
24 years.
24 years.
That's a whole human being.
Thank you. Who's finished university?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a whole adult is what you're trying to say. So really good best friends. And if you missed the last episode, you need to go back and watch it or listen to it because it was awesome. But I think we kind of finished the episode with the question of like, it sounds like it's possible for children to not just completely I don't know if y'all heard that, but it just started raining. And that's why we all paused because we're hearing it.
Like, wait, what's that?
So if you hear it, that's rain that's come to bless our land. Hallelujah.
Amen.
But we were talking about
Ambient.
Totally.
Is it possible for the marriage to not be completely taken over by children? Where it's just like, now that the kids are here, it is all about them. See you in 20 years, husband. See you in 20 years, wife. So we're just kind of talking about things like intimacy, sex, dates, romance. Does that stuff even happen anymore? Or is it a no-go? Or is it so rare? Do y'all just talk about the kids nonstop all the time? The baby needs this. The baby needs that. I've noticed this. Where, what is it?
And somewhere in the middle of that, hi.
Like, how you doing? Are you fine? You have everything you need? Mwah, and then move on. So I think that's just
even a mwah.
It's a good day. It's a fist bump.
Let's go. Let's
Like a high
go.
five.
It's like a team huddle. And 3, 1, 2, 3, 2. So that's kind of where we finished. Exactly, Stoon. And I think that's what we want to pick up today is really now go to the really practical side of it. Like Anna and Baita with 4 children, almost 10-year-old and below. How have y'all kept it from just becoming all about the kids? How have you stayed husband and wife after becoming mom and dad?
Yes.
Like, how has mom and dad not become your complete identity? It's like,
Mama
she's
Nani.
not my wife. She is the mother. She's not my wife. She's the mother of my
It's not
children.
like she's fighting.
Exactly.
Mama Abby.
Mama K.
By the way, both titles I'm very proud to wear.
That's
true. So true.
So we just really want to hear from y'all. Just hacks you
Some
have
practical
or
things.
practical things. Just what has helped y'all stay friends? Has there been a season, I'm curious, in this parent journey where it's like, we are not very good friends?
Of course.
Or it's just, I don't like you very much.
Oh, you didn't pick up
I just like how you talk.
that 6
Like,
month
That was
6 month tension? Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, well, he might be learning some things today.
Clearly.
But that's a really good question. I love the question you asked about whether or not we talk about the babies all the time. We should answer that on 3.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yes.
That's a united front.
We talk about the babies all the time.
All the time.
Well, we do.
In
Because I think the reason we do is we want to be very intentional about how we're parenting. And we recognize that these children are our legacy. These children are our hope. They're our future. So of course we want to be very intentional about how we're raising them.
Yeah.
And of course, when you have 4 individual, unique, special children in the house.
Problems, challenges, needs,
Exactly.
desires, hopes, futures.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
It
Personalities,
demands yes.
health situations.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
it demands a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that's where we tend to put a lot of our focus. We also
yeah.
serve in ministry together.
yes,
yes.
So that can often take up a lot of our time as
Yeah.
well.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are definitely times we set where we'll literally make a pact and we're like, tonight.
Tonight.
See you in
we
the
are-
evening.
Exactly.
No,
we're not talking
about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
make a pact where it's like we're not talking about the
No.
kids,
Yeah.
especially when we go out on dates and
Yes,
things.
yes.
We're pretty intentional
Oh, yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
It has to
And
be.
of course, sometimes it can be hard because again, that's where your heart
It's so
naturally
true.
Yeah.
goes.
Right.
True.
That's where your passion is.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
you enjoy. That's what
Yeah.
excites you.
Yeah.
That's what. So of course,
Yeah.
it takes discipline. But I've found as well when we choose not to talk about anything else, it forces us to talk about
Us.
One another.
us instead. There have been seasons, you asked if there are seasons where we've neglected our friendship. For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
sure,
There have
yeah.
been times where, like we said in the last episode, where we've had to realign. You know, where we've realized things are out of place.
Out of joint, yeah.
Out of joint, exactly. And, you know, we've had to realign and readjust. But
Because maybe it's easier to be mama when I'm having a good flow as a wife.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
And I think there was a time in our marriage when I literally turned to Faita and I was like, I don't think I've asked you how you are in maybe months.
Yeah.
Season of time.
And I was like, I don't think
Because-
you've asked me how I am
Yeah.
in months. You know, and the thing is, we're not just mom and dad.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a big part of what we do,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
there's so much
It's
more
true.
to our lives.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much I'm carrying. There's
Oh,
so
yeah.
much I'm processing. There's
So
so much
true.
I'm thinking. There's so much I'm feeling. There's so much
Yeah.
I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And
And
I
it's
think,
easy to assume
yes.
each other in those moments
Yeah.
because life is going.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm just.
And you're together
I'm
a good portion of the time.
it's totally.
Yeah.
That's because
Alan,
we
that's
do,
such a good
yeah, 'cause
point.
we do- I mean,
You're
we're raising
together a
kids.
lot,
Exactly.
so you tend to
We're
Yeah.
doing ministry.
I know
we
what's
are
going
right.
on.
She's
Exactly.
fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if things were not fine,
Yeah.
you would tell me because we are so close.
Yeah.
So I just assume
Yeah.
because you're not saying it, you should be fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Only to hear again, and
Yeah.
that's when
But it's
Anna
like, are
asked,
you fine? And it's like,
Exactly.
Wait, what did I do? What did I do?
Wait until 8 p.m.
And then
And ask
6
me that
hours
question
spend
again.
time for
Yeah.
the kids.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Exactly, but it's true. In fact,
Yeah.
there have been anniversaries where, you know, anniversaries are very important to
Yes,
us,
yes,
and
yes.
I'm sure they are to every
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every anniversary that's come, we've literally taken time and stopped and asked each other,
Yeah.
what do we need this year?
Yes, yes,
13
yes.
years in,
Yeah.
what we need year 13.
Yeah.
It's probably not what we needed year 1.
Yes.
And so we celebrate it differently every year depending on what we need. And there have literally been anniversaries where we've said, this anniversary, we're going away to pray.
To pray.
No joke. This anniversary, we're going away to rest.
Yes.
This
Place to
anniversary, we're
chill.
going away to
Oh,
adventure.
Yes.
You know, whatever
yes,
it is.
Yeah.
And I think every year,
Oh, yeah.
and of course it's more than once a year, but I'm
Right.
using
Yeah.
anniversaries as
Yeah.
the
As
an
example,
example.
where we've looked at each other and said, what do we need?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right now,
Right now.
because you do have to acknowledge that we are so much more than just mom and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still a wife.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm still
A woman.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still someone's daughter.
Yeah.
I'm someone's sister.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm someone's leader.
So
Yeah.
I'm
true.
someone's employee.
So true.
Like there's so many facets to my
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
that you need to stay
Oh,
connected.
Connected
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
up to date.
Exactly.
yeah.
And I found I'm actually not a very quick sharer. Like I find I can really keep things
Bottled down.
Internalized.
internalized until I'm specifically asked.
Yeah.
And so it's something we've had to develop and,
And
we're
it's
still
something
working
exactly,
on
Yeah.
it.
and it's something I have had to learn because I feel like whenever
Fighter's just like, are you fine?
are you fine? It's like,
Hi, how are you?
and
Fine.
if you're not,
Come,
you
I
come
give you
tell
a
me. It's
little
like
kiss.
I'm there. Yeah, so
It's
yeah,
like, okay, how's work?
exactly.
Okay, how's your
Yeah.
family?
Yes.
Or even posing questions well.
Yeah,
Not
that's
just
true.
how are you,
Oh,
but
yo,
how
that's
are you
true.
feeling about
Yes.
Such and
yes.
such.
It's
you
so
know,
true.
Or in
just
this present
drawing
moment.
each
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
out
Oh, yeah.
because we truly care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true. And I think because life is happening so fast,
Yeah.
or it continues, doesn't stop for that moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Having the wisdom to say, okay, you know what, there are other things
Yeah.
that we know we need to deal with, but I want to deal with it when
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah.
And so
I need
again,
to
as
put you
I need to
first.
put you first
Yeah.
because it's so easy because I feel like, hey, we're doing so much together.
Yeah.
We need to be at par.
Yeah.
So that we
Yeah.
can at least be able to help each other
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But if I get a moment and stop and just ask, okay, you know what, love, tell me, how can I help? Or what's going on?
Or what do you need?
What do you need?
How can I serve
and
you?
be,
in this season?
exactly.
Yeah.
And please be elaborate, because as a guy, now this is going, what you say, I'll be like, I'll take it at face value. Like, okay, sure.
Well, you'll translate it your way.
Exactly. So if you're not elaborate, I'll be like, oh, okay, then things are pretty much okay, right? So let's go, let's move on with life. But knowing that with Anna has really helped in that at least I get moments, stop her, then when I
draw
found
her out,
and then at least now
Seek
keep
it out.
building, keep building once again. So it truly, we have had those moments in our lives.
And I think we've literally gone weeks before where we haven't even looked each other in the eye. Like we've had to stop and realize I've not even
seen you.
I've not even seen you over the last day or week or month. And I know, and I just want to encourage whoever's out there. We've had those moments where it's like life is so busy. Life is so hectic. It's so noisy. It's so demanding. And sometimes you lose each other in the middle of all that. And I just find, again, when we are quick to adjust, it truly affects everything else. In fact, one of the things I've learned over the years is home often comes last, but home affects the most.
So true.
Like our home life, a lot of times when it comes to our priority lists and all the things that we think are important, home can often end up at the
bottom of the list.
So you know, family and children and marriage and our friendship and our our connection. A lot of times that can come last, and yet it's the thing I've found that affects the most. It's like Fight was saying, when I'm not okay, or when Fight is not okay, or when we're not okay, or when the children are okay, or when our family's not okay. It affects everything else we're trying to do. And so of course there have been seasons where, we've had to stop and remind each other, I need to see you again. Fights, you need to see me again. So, get to know who I am now. So it's like we need to get to know each other again. When I think about how far we are into our marriage now, we've just hit 13 years. We've just entered the teenage years. No, but if you think about the teenage years, I think we're still in for a wild ride.
Wild times.
Exactly. But I think about 13 years in, I'm in many ways, I'm not the same woman I was 13 years out.
True.
It's like I'm not exactly who I was when we first got married. And we develop over time. We change. We morph. And do you know who I am now?
Yes, exactly.
And it's a question we often ask. Do I know who you are now?
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it's a very small example. But a few weeks back, I went into the shop. I think we were going on a road trip or something. So I went in to buy snacks. So I bought what are Faita's favorite snacks. They are his favorite snacks. They have always been his favorite snacks.
Why was I in trouble for this?
Tell me why. I was the one who got in trouble.
And I didn't think to ask because I know what his favorite snacks are. Anyway, so we get to the checkout counter. I get to the checkout counter, and buy our favorite
and
snacks.
you're so proud that you remember.
Exactly. And I get into the car and I show him what I bought. And literally the first words, you should have said thank you first.
I should have. Did you see where I get
Thank you, but...
tips for longevity. Anyway, but the first thing that he says when I pull out his snacks are, I don't like those anymore. And I'm like,
I have never liked them.
And I was low-key, high-key offended for like the rest of the road trip.
Because I'm allowed to change, right?
Yes, I have made such an effort to buy these snacks without realizing, though, that I haven't asked.
It's so true.
I mean, I can remember the last time I asked what snack you're enjoying right now. I mean, it's a small thing.
I know, but it's incredible. A few months ago, I was reading in Proverbs. I'm not the pastor here, so I can't tell you chapter and verse.
Come on, let's go.
But it was a scripture that just really got my attention because it says, wisdom builds the house. Understanding puts up the walls. But then it says knowledge fills its rooms with precious and pleasant things. And I remember kind of being taken aback because I thought wisdom would be what would fill this with precious and pleasant things. And I literally remember as soon as I read it, the question that came to my mind is, what is Allan's favorite color? And it seems so simple because that scripture, I was reading it in context of our marriage. And I was doing just this whole thing on God working on me as a wife and the house I'm building, a wise woman builds her house. And it just hit me. I was like, it's blue, isn't it? And it was so similar that I was like, I haven't even asked Allan since that initial get to know you conversation.
Have you seen these videos on Instagram? I'm so sorry to interrupt you, where they put a husband and son It's husband and child side by side, and they ask both of them the same question, and often the child can answer and the husband can't.
Yeah, about like the wife.
The basic
What's
questions
mom's
about the
favorite
wife.
color? And he's like, pink. It's like, Dad, it's green.
Exactly what you're saying.
But it was kind of almost the same thing.
Yes.
Rebekah, you've got to know who he is now, and quit holding him hostage to the version you knew.
And that's hard.
5 years ago, 6 years ago.
That demands a lot of effort.
And pursuit.
Yes,
and
but it's the knowledge that makes it precious and pleasant. It's like,
to be so proactive.
You would have had a much more pleasant car ride if you had
Honestly,
the knowledge.
I totally messed up that one. Like it was me. I own it.
Oh wow, you're owning it now.
Only because we're in front of the camera.
I don't know if this applies to you guys, but I have heard couples. You know, we've had friends, and I've talked to wives and who've become moms. Who are like, you know, after the baby came, you know, my body has changed. Our intimate dynamic has changed. You know, I kind of feel like I'm just a baby feeding machine now. You know, all I am good for now is to feed a human, and that's it. But let's talk. Is it like in 20 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? You know, there's just all this pressure of like, once you've snapped back and you've got your figure back, and I don't know. I just, as a woman who doesn't have children yet, I feel pressure sometimes on, you better lose this weight fast, or you could lose him. You know, or he's not going to be interested in you, or. You know, I don't know. I just think sometimes there's a lot of pressure to bottle feed, so that it's like my body still belongs to my man, and I'm starving, and I don't know. I don't know if that's just something that y'all have faced. And it's like especially when you said, "I still see you." Are you seeing the now version of each other, and are you liking the now version that you see, or is it like I'm seeing you when you were 18 and I fell in love with you, and now, girl, you've changed.
So let me start off by sharing about this a little bit, and then I'm sure Faita will jump in.
I have something to say.
You have something to say? But I know this is so real for so many women. I just feel like all of us have new insecurities about our bodies after babies. And especially 4 babies later. I'm not quite the woman Faita married 13 years ago. You know, just when it comes to what my body has gone through. That was sweet. I'm better, he said. But one of the things I just want to tell the women out there, the men as well, but especially the women who have carried children and birthed children and fed children and sacrificed for children and given their bodies for the sake of children. You are so much more than a body. Like, I feel like, again, the world puts so much emphasis on our bodies. And it's something that I have to fight almost daily, because if you're on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or Facebook or whatever you're on, I mean, in seconds, you're going to see what the ideal body looks like. And of course, we instantly compare ourselves to what we see online. And I just had to realize, and I think the Lord has had to talk to me a lot about the fact that, Anna, you are so much more than a body. And I found in our marriage, one of the things that we have made sure that we are constantly investing in is our friendship, because I've found when I'm attracted to his person, I'm instantly attracted to his body. And same thing for me. It's like when he's attracted to my person, he's instantly attracted to my body. And sometimes I think we get it the wrong way around, you know, and we flip the priorities. And I have found when we actively work on our friendship, when we stay attracted to each other just as people,
so true.
you know, you're my friend. And I enjoy you. And we laugh together, and we play together, and we adventure together, and I just feel like that automatically helps. It just helps
intimacy.
The physical, you know, connection. But I think it's so important to remember what to focus on first, because your body does go through so many changes. So I think there is a tendency a lot of times, because of your insecurities, it's like, we'll only have sex with the lights off. And again, I know that struggle. But I do feel like when you keep your relationship rich, it enriches everything else. So that's really one of the things I would say.
Now, let me say it from a guy's perspective. And because truthfully, we are the ones, number one, we are visually stimulated, right? And so we are the ones who are seeing all these changes happening. And I read a book once that completely shifted my perspective. And I do believe for men, we do need to shift our perspective.
Yeah.
Because I feel like expecting Anna to be the wife after 4 kids with the board that she had then, and now it's not only unfair, it's impractical.
Yeah.
You know, and then waiting for her to get back so that now I can start getting excited about, I have my wife back.
Yeah.
That will be such, honestly, I just have missed so many moments in between about how I would have honored, loved, secured, enjoyed my wife, right? And so this book I'm reading, this guy was talking about how he's just doing a deep dive on Song of Solomon's, and he was talking about how in chapter 1 and to chapter 4, the man is talking to the lady about her facial structure, about her very fitting.
Goodness, in words that are hard to hear as compliments, your teeth are like a flock of goats.
I know.
You're like, wow.
So he's like,
thanks, bro.
And he's very detailed, you know. Yeah. And as he gets to the end of the book, the chapters, the man starts describing different aspects of the woman, different features. Like now he's drawn to different features of his wife, and
like besides her
body. I mean, now he's describing even about her body. He starts seeing different parts of her body, and he starts highlighting them. And the writer of this book is saying, men, we need to start shifting. Like the things that you loved about her then, they may have changed, but there are new things to admire. There are new things to find. There are new things to discover. And I literally I've always told Anna every time, like, yes, you've changed, but Anna, there's some new things I'm discovering about you.
Wow.
And now she's as beautiful in different ways.
Yeah,
and to be honest, I'm not even waiting for it.
Because based on what you're saying, what you're saying, it's almost like I've experienced that and I loved it and it was wonderful. But now there's something new to experience.
So I'm now experiencing the new. So for me, men, I honestly feel that just to all the men out there, start discovering her. She will change, yes. But she can change and she should change for the better. You secure her. You tell her the different features that you're seeing now that you didn't even see earlier, but they still pop for you. They still move you. That you're still attracted to her in very different ways. And again, because of how we've seen it on the socials or even just the world, is everyone expects only certain few things to be attractive to a man. And I'm like, no, there are other things that could be attractive. So many other things.
I love that about the writer of the book, Song of Solomon, is he highlighted such. What is it called? Exactly. He highlighted so many features about her that the world doesn't necessarily praise.
It's true.
And it's so true. It's like there's so much to enjoy.
There is so much to enjoy. So find those new, discover those new things. And secure her by telling her about these new things.
And I don't know if every couple's like us, but I found you becoming a dad in many ways made you more attractive because it's bringing
just like ooh.
Tell me more on the drive home.
No, because honestly, I just feel like being a dad has brought out just such incredible characteristics,
so
and such incredible qualities.
Same thing, I'd say.
True. And just watching your how you interact with them, and how you connect with them. I don't know. I feel like I said.
Well, listen, I get it because one time, Allan, I had painted Abby, your firstborn, her nails. And then she went over to Uncle Allan and she was like, Uncle Allan, she was 4, 3 or 4. She's like, Uncle Allan, blow. And so Uncle Allan took her little hands and started. And I just sat there like, I love him so much. Or whenever I see him hold a baby, I mean, my ovaries are screaming. But it's just, I can't even imagine if that's just how I see him interact with kids that aren't even his.
And that's
that I'm just like, oh, he's so gentle. He's so strong. He's so sweet.
And that's, I think, what we said in the last episode a lot. Children, if you let them, they deepen the marriage. They enrich the marriage. It's like they
much more fulfilling, right?
Exactly. They satisfy it in a different way. And I do think it's something, like we said, you have to be proactive about.
Yes.
But I definitely do feel that God makes all things new.
Yeah.
He really does.
Yeah.
You know,
He
in
does.
every season, in every change, in the middle of transition, you know, let him make it new again.
Yeah.
And I mean, 13 years and we still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But I think up until now,
Oh, we are loving
you know,
it.
we're enjoying marriage.
Yeah.
We truly enjoy
We
each
really
other.
are.
Yeah.
So much.
We don't hear a lot of that. We don't hear that often.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear it, coming from you all. That
Right.
It's possible.
Right.
It
Yeah.
can
It
be
is.
done.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
It can be
And-
a different story.
And we see it. So we've talked, I know in the last episode y'all talked about like you have a really set bedtime for your kids to give y'all time
Yes.
after they're in bed to just connect
Yeah.
as friends,
Yes.
as husband and
Exactly.
wife, not so much as mom and dad.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then, you know, now we've talked about just seeing each other,
Yeah.
you know, appreciating.
Investing.
Yes.
But are there any other like just really practical? I mean, like, do y'all go out on dates? You know, do you do flowers? I don't know what
Yes.
y'all's love languages are,
Right.
but. And I've heard this a lot, especially Anna, from moms, that, you know, love languages tend to shift very fast
Right.
Yes.
when kids come along. It's like
Yeah.
whatever it was before, now I just want acts of service, acts of service. I don't know if that's your story.
Yes.
But like, just are there other really practical things y'all have done to keep this
Okay.
fun and
Yeah.
enjoyable? You know,
Oh,
I don't know
Right.
if again, I was just, you see it on social media, you read it, you hear it
Uh-huh.
sometimes that it's like, I got home from work, I'm tired, I've been working to provide hard for this family all day, and then I get home and she just shoves babies in my hands
Yes.
and tells them, go
Right.
bathe them,
Yeah.
go do this,
Yeah.
go do that,
Yeah.
you know.
Tag.
Yeah, tag, you're it. And then it's like, no, it's done. And then we go to
Yeah.
bed. She's tired. She's not in the mood.
Yes.
You know, and so we
Yes.
go to bed.
Yeah.
And then we wake up in the morning and we do it all
It's
again.
the same thing over
It's
and
the
It's
over
the same
and
thing.
over.
It's mundane. It's
Monday.
predictable.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Also, I'm tired.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know
Exactly.
if there's just other practical
Yes.
things that's like, this has helped us. This
Yeah.
is
Right.
Oh wow.
You've
I think-
discovered, yeah.
I think time, communication, and sex needs to be regular.
Yeah.
The time you give each other needs to be regular. Your communication needs to be regular, and
True.
sex needs to be regular. And I think you have to figure out what regular.
What if people are like, I don't
looks
want
like to
another
you.
baby right now? Anna? No, I'm just.
There's some methods, you know, we
There
could
is.
introduce to
Yeah.
help you with that. But I feel like those are things that need to be regular
Yeah.
in order
There
to
has to be
maintain
some
the health
regulars.
of your
It's true.
relationship.
Yeah.
Now, regular looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
But you know, I know it's something we're very conscious of. How much time have we spent with each other?
Yeah.
How well are we communicating? How much
Yes.
sex are we having? Those are
Yes.
things we stay very conscious about.
Yeah.
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 And I know something we've tried to keep consistent over the 13 years, and it's looked different
Yeah.
depending on the season. But date night for us, well,
Yeah.
date night. I say date night, but it
Yeah.
could be day dates.
Date.
Dating.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Dates.
Yes. You know, that's something that we really hold dear.
Yes, we do.
You know, again, I think there's just such an important aspect of dressing up.
yes.
I think when you've been
Oh,
in your
yeah.
pajamas half the day and, you know, you still got your hair bonnet on, you know, you haven't showered and, you know, you can't even remember when. I just think for me, date night really helps me remember that I'm more than just a mom.
Yeah.
And date night is not family outing. Like, this is something you're doing without the kids.
No, although
Never.
I will say there
Yeah.
are definitely times we love doing things with our kids,
Yes.
but there are times we do things without our kids.
Yeah.
And date night is not one of those things
Thank
we do with our kids.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There are times we love to travel with our kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are times we travel without
Without
our
the
kids.
kids.
There are times we go for events with
With
our
our
kids,
kids.
and
It's
times
true.
we go for events without
Without
our
the
kids.
kids.
I think that balance
Yes.
really matters. And
Yeah. So
sometimes
true.
it can feel a little complex
Yeah.
because you understand so many people have
yeah.
their own personal demands.
True, true.
They have their needs. You
Yes,
know, they
yes.
have their
Yeah.
what's it called? They have their things that are necessary for them.
Yeah.
But we've learned that we need to strike that balance. And so a lot of times, I mean, especially when it comes to dates,
Dates.
but even things during the month, there are
Yes.
times we tell the kids, nope, you're
Yeah.
not coming
Yeah.
this afternoon, you
It's
know.
Because I'm just curious, do you do
Yes.
that because you find that when the kids are there, you have to be mom and dad?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's like we have to leave them home
Totally.
so that we can be husband and wife.
Exactly.
We
Yes.
can be
That's-
friends.
That's
Yes.
the
I
point.
don't have to be mom
That's
right
the
now.
point.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I
point.
think if you can strike that, now it needs to be a healthy balance.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you can strike it,
It's true.
it's so important. We just went away on a 3-day trip.
Yes.
It's not something we do often,
Often.
Yeah.
but we realized we need
You
to
need
invest
it.
Yeah.
in each
Yeah.
other. And so
You
we
have to remember.
and it can be
It's
a
so
lot of
true.
work to organize.
It really
It can
is.
be expensive to organize. It can be
Yes.
tiring to organize. But
Yeah.
oh my gosh, we came back from those 3 days so refreshed.
So true.
Because we needed that
Yeah.
alone time.
So you
Yeah.
don't feel any kind of guilt as mom and dad on our kids are going to resent you know, that they missed out on this? Or what if they want, Mom, we want to go? Or they cry because they want to go? Like,
you cried because you want to go, but I'll probably cry because you came.
yeah.
So it's like whose tears matter the most today?
Exactly.
No, that's why I said a balance.
Yes.
Of course, there has to be a healthy balance. I think one of the things that helps me, and this is just my story, is I homeschool my kids.
Yeah.
So I tend to be with them
a lot,
during the
That's
day.
true. That's
So
true.
when we go out for an afternoon, or when we go out, you know, for an event, or when we, you know, go travel, I think that often helps me because I have invested a lot of time in my kids. But I think it's being very intentional about maintaining that balance.
And I'm curious, I know this is going to be just y'all.
Right.
This is your thing. But like in a month, besides the kids have gone to bed at 8 p.m. and we have some one-on-one time, you know, in the evenings.
Right.
How many times would you say y'all do something by yourself?
Yeah.
And
Could be
again, it may
spontaneous,
adjust
could
on
be
season. Are we
planned.
talking once a month, once a week?
More than that. I'd probably say once a week.
Once a week. Once every 2 weeks, for sure.
Yeah.
That you're going to
About
do
food.
something.
Yes.
Just the two of you.
Yes.
And so many times.
Even if it's shopping.
Yeah, grocery
I was
shopping.
about
Like,
to say
it doesn't
that,
necessarily
right?
have to be romantic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be
right?
something routine, but
Yeah,
you
but-
make it
Yes.
fun.
One of the things
Yes.
we do is, and this like literally is 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll go and we'll buy ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
And just sit in
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah.
And just, again, we're out of the house. It's just Anna and I.
Yeah.
And we just...
It's quiet.
Yeah. With a treat in your hand.
It's a
quiet.
treat.
Just the
Exactly.
quiet.
Yeah.
Just that quiet
So
is so
dates,
important.
dates are planned, but they're also semi-spontaneous, let me
Yeah.
say. But they don't have to be long.
They don't have to
but
be long. They don't have to be
intentional.
expensive. They don't have to be. They don't
Elaborate.
Elaborate. They
You know,
don't have to be
but I
elaborate.
definitely think we're so. It's so important that we carve out time for
That's
each
true.
other,
Yeah.
no matter
That's
what
true.
that looks like. And
Yeah.
sometimes it could be something, you know, simple. It could be something lavish.
Yeah.
It just depends.
It's true.
But yeah, I think that's a very important habit that we've tried to create.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, this is such an aside, but when Anna and I were kids, Mom and Dad did not travel often, the both of them.
Right.
But one of the things I loved about what Mom and Dad did, I just thought they were so smart in this, is that when they did travel, they made their being gone so fun for us kids.
Right.
Like Mama would leave us little
Yes.
treats
So
every
true.
day.
Yeah.
So true.
Or,
Yeah.
you know, we got to like bend rules because when we
Yeah.
were growing up, we only got to watch TV on weekends,
Yeah.
starting Friday,
Yeah.
Friday evening after school. But when they were gone, it's like you can watch TV every day
Every day.
for an hour.
Right.
So
Like
true.
Mom was so clever. I mean, both of them. They were just so
Yeah.
clever on. I don't ever remember because. You know, sometimes I remember one time they went for like weeks. They traveled to the States and they got, you know, different people to come and stay with us because we
Yeah.
were young.
Yeah.
But I never remember them leaving and me resenting them for it and feeling like
Feel
they
like
should have
they've carried
taken.
you.
In
Yeah.
fact, I remember Mom and Dad telling us we're going and we'd be like,
They made it
Especially
so
as we got
fun.
older.
yes. It was so fun. Or even like if they went for an evening meeting and then it would be like, all right, guys, we're leaving a church thing or something.
Right.
And they'd be like,
Yes.
we're leaving. You can have one scoop of ice cream after
Yes.
dinner.
Yes.
They'd say something like that right before they leave the door. So it's like, bye.
Be like,
And
wish
and
we
it-
could
No
come.
one
I know.
that
Wappy.
from. She does
I
that
do
a
that
lot.
quite
And
a
I
bit.
love that.
And
I love it
that
for the
really
kids.
helps. That
Yeah.
really helps because I don't want them to resent us leaving. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
if anything, I want them to be happy about
Yes,
us leaving.
yes,
you know,
yes.
so even and this is a side note as well, but even like big church events where
Yeah.
we know we're going to be needed for
Yes,
a few
yes.
days at a time.
Yeah.
We try and make sure our children never resent ministry.
Yeah.
And so
True.
let's make those days for them as
Yes,
exciting
as
as
fun.
possible
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
I
So
think
we
that's
do.
a great tip.
Yeah,
That's a
it
great
is,
tip.
it is.
Something else I wanted to bring up that often helps as well is I think we had said this earlier, but just knowing he's thinking about me during the day and I'm thinking about him
Oh,
during
yeah,
the day.
that's good.
I think that really has played an important part as
And
well.
not just you as mom, not just, do the kids need milk?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like they're
All the kids.
and
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating when I say I always, and this is not to put pressure on anyone. This is just our
Yeah.
right. This is
Yeah.
tradition.
Yes.
You know that's grown over time. But I think I almost always have flowers in my home because I love them. And
Yeah.
Faito will walk in with a bouquet at least once a month,
Wow.
and I'm just like, you know, again, it's a small thing, but
It's
I
not just coming home with milk and
exactly,
bread for
thank
the
you.
children.
And that matters. Keep them fed. We need
Yes.
them alive.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need them healthy. But at the same time, it's just that small. I feel like the small things are
Yeah.
the big things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
true.
oftentimes, it's not always the big 3-day trip. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
But it's actually what you do every day.
Yeah.
It's just daily dedication, daily love, daily affection.
It's true.
I feel like that's what's kept us going all these years. It's not just the big trips are nice. Let's take them. You know, let's go away for 3 days where we can. But that's occasional.
Yeah.
But what are we doing every day?
That's true.
Yeah.
And I have to say that came actually. I would love to take the credit and say, I came up with that.
Yeah.
But Anna did mention like a couple of times, like, I would love flowers.
Yeah.
Like
Women,
that
don't be
regular
afraid to be
communication.
specific.
Yeah.
I just want to say, and so
Help a
now
brother.
every time
help a brother.
where we shop, right outside there's a flower shop. So I make a point to remember that as I'm going out, I know Anna will love this. Like I know it will truly.
Right.
It may not necessarily be a big thing.
Yeah.
But I know she'll notice it.
Yeah.
I want her to notice
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do get her flowers because number one, she wants them.
Yeah.
But I know what it'll do for us,
Yeah.
even in her getting them.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
love that.
Yeah.
I will buy her flowers for you every time. You know,
awesome.
Thanks. From now till the day we die.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bouquet in my house every month. Something else I was going to say that I think has really helped us, just as husband and wife, is guarding our yeses and our nos. I feel like that's such an important aspect,
Yeah.
when it comes to relationship, is that if this is going to be the priority,
Yeah.
then there might be some no's that we
Yeah.
have to say.
so true.
Yeah.
Instead of always saying yes, because
Yeah.
I feel like every yes here
It's true.
means a
I
no
know
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every no somewhere means a yes somewhere else.
definitely.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things we've had to talk about a lot because, there are always things being offered to us. There's
And
always
it's like you
True.
said,
Yeah.
home almost always is what we
Always.
put
Always.
at the
Get
bottom.
relegated, yeah.
Exactly,
it's
and it's
always-
sad,
It's
but-
the only one that you can sacrifice. Feels like they will
Exactly.
understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like oftentimes, when you're being offered the promotion,
Yeah.
or maybe it's a big
Yeah.
event,
Where
or a
would
big
we be
opportunity.
if some of us treated our businesses and our bosses the way we treat
The
our
same-
families?
with the same
Exactly.
frame of
Exactly.
mind
And I'm like, every
investment,
time
yeah.
you say a yes to something,
Yeah.
you just have to recognize you're saying a no to something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And so
The
we
willingness
really
to say.
guard.
Yeah, it's true.
Even that 8 p.m. to
Bedtime.
8
Yeah.
p.m.
Yeah.
bedtime. We guard our evenings because we realize that's the time we're investing in us. And if
true.
this isn't an active priority
true.
Yeah.
in our life, then it's gonna, with time,
Yeah.
it's going to wane.
Yeah.
And so it's something we've realized we need to do carefully. And no one wants to say no.
Yeah.
We all want to say yes.
Yeah.
And say as many yeses as possible.
Yeah.
But there might be some no's you have to say as well
Yeah.
in order
In the
to keep the
process.
It's
priorities
so true.
where they
Yeah.
ought to be.
So true.
Yeah.
So I think that's also been something that's really helped us is
Yeah.
actively guarding where we say yes
Yeah.
Yeah.
and often being willing to say no.
Yeah.
And that can be hard.
It is.
Especially when it is the big moment you've been waiting for. But you understand what you will have to sacrifice in the process.
Yeah.
And deciding if that trade-off is worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
Our pastor said something so powerful the other day. He said, if you don't have values, then you will always live at the dictates of the urgent. Like if it's not,
true.
I have
So
decided
true.
this is important.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, and
Then
so
you'll
much is urgent.
constantly
Yeah.
live at
So
this
much
is
is
important.
urgent.
This meeting is important.
Oh,
Yes.
This, this networking
It's
is
so
important.
true.
Right.
This, get together with the girls. This one's important.
Yeah.
It's just whatever it is. It's like if you haven't already decided, no, we've established this is a value to us.
Yes.
Then you will live at the dictate of.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about it before we started shooting this
Right.
podcast. That
Yeah.
every week it's like, okay, next week
Yes.
we're gonna slow down.
Oh my
next week
gosh.
we're gonna get, and it's like next week
Adulting.
is worse than this week. It's always
It's already
always
busy and if you
busy.
haven't even gotten
Yeah,
married.
like
Yeah.
if you have time, something will demand it.
It
So you
will.
have to
Yeah, yeah.
decide.
Even your phone.
Yeah.
Like I feel one of the things we're conscious about as well. And again, you can tell 8 p.m. for us. Hey, in the Baita household.
It's treasured.
the law of the meats and the
exactly.
portions.
It's precious.
It's precious.
But even our phones,
Oh, yeah.
we're very conscious about
Put it down.
putting not even down, putting
it
them away.
Yeah.
For the next hour,
Oh,
if
yeah.
there's something we really need
So
to talk
true.
about.
Yeah.
Because again, a marriage demands constant communication.
Yes.
And if there's something we know we need to discuss tonight,
yeah.
we literally will put the phones in another room
Yeah.
where we can't hear them. We're not
Yeah.
looking at them. We're not distracted by them.
Yes, we can all testify this, can't we, Alan?
Try a time or two to
Fighters
reach
can
the
be hard
fighter
to
house.
reach sometimes. It's like call Anna, it rings.
Okay.
Call Fighter, it rings.
now you
have
know
to
why.
call the
But now you
neighbor.
know
Now
why.
you know why.
We know.
And truly, I don't make apologies for
No,
it.
Yeah.
it's
Sometimes
you
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I also just, it's a value I hold. I don't want my kids to grow up and they
Yes.
remember the memories they have of their
true.
mother was me doing this.
Yeah, on her phone
It's
scrolling.
And I feel like our phone takes away it takes away our attention
Yeah.
and our
Contact,
affection
yeah.
and our love.
It does.
And
Well, even
our,
Allan and I, we've talked so many times about how there was a point it almost reached the place of concern because our memories were so like, I don't remember that.
Unclear, yeah.
Yeah, it was like,
wow.
what?
Wow.
We did that? And then we realized it's because we were multitasking.
Yes.
So a
That's
memory that I
good.
have that I was like,
Yes.
remember when we went there? And he's like, I don't remember that. And it's
Yeah.
like, because you were holding your phone.
you were playing
or,
games.
you know, or vice
Candy Crush.
versa. And so it
Yeah.
was just such a big thing
Yeah.
on this memory is
Live
going to
in
be
the
lost
moment.
if we
Yeah.
don't put
Yeah.
the phone
Right.
down.
Yeah.
Right.
So true.
Truly
know, and-
enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's so true.
Well, I want to ask one more thing.
Yes. Okay.
Just for you guys, because you are husband and wife,
Yeah.
and you are mom and dad, and you
Yeah.
can never stop being
No.
either
Yeah.
forever
You can't.
True.
until you
Yeah.
die.
Yes.
You will be both.
Yes.
But what happens when your kids have now become the source of your contention or your conflict as friends? It's like we disagree on how to
Just
discipline
kick
them.
them out for a week. Kick them out.
Kick him to the dog
Yeah,
house.
kick them out for a
But
week.
you know, there's just tension because we don't discipline them the same way. Or what's a big deal to me? Why
This
isn't
is
it a
not my
big deal
approach
to
to
you?
this issue.
Or where they're going to go to school?
Yeah.
Or, you know, that kind of stuff where it's like, now I don't even enjoy being with you
Yes.
because
So true.
we are so different.
Yeah.
And we
how
have
we are
such a
raising
different
our
approach,
kids.
and I don't want to bend on my stance, and you don't want to bend on your stance, and it's
Yeah.
like we're at loggerheads now
Yes.
for
Yeah.
you know, so it almost feels like the kids are the cause
Yes.
Right.
of or our approach, and now
Yeah.
it's how have y'all handled that? Because
Navigated
I'm
it, yeah.
sure
Yeah, that
we've talked about it. Just we don't believe there's such a thing as cross-cultural marriage. Just when it comes to like tribal or national, it's like every marriage is cross-cultural.
Every
Just
single
because you were
marriage.
raised in two different
Exactly.
families, it's
That
like how
in
your
itself-
family did it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Two different
So like
families.
even Allan and I like having dinner together. Like for me, it's like, of course we're gonna have dinner together, and he's like, no, you just eat when you're hungry, and it's like, boss.
Thank God for microwaves. Just stick it in there.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll eat at 8, you eat at 10. What's
So
it?
true.
Right.
Anyway, you know, it's a thing of you're obviously approaching now mom and dad
Yes.
Yes.
as your mom and dad
Oh,
were, and as
definitely.
your
Yes.
mom and dad
Oh,
were, and that
definitely.
must cause conflict
It
and
It does.
and maybe not
does.
just silly things like he should have another bite, but deep things like
Yeah.
deep things. Of
Yes.
this matters.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is serious
Oh, yeah.
about
Yeah.
our kids.
Yeah.
How have y'all navigated
Oh, yeah.
through that?
And we still are.
We still are.
I mean,
I'm
sure.
again,
No, we're-
we're
yeah.
She's only 10.
exactly. We're early on.
Yeah. And I feel like it's so real.
Yeah.
Kids truly can bring contention.
Yeah.
Just case in point, I was raised going to school. The value was
To
a
day school. Yeah.
going to a formal institution.
Yeah.
And it was Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was prized. Education was prized.
Yeah.
And so when we got kids, Anna and I had this conversation about doing homeschool. And I mean, you all have to be honest.
I was homeschooled. Homeschooler.
Exactly.
Proud
So
homeschooler.
just walking out that journey and just the tension that
Yeah.
it brought.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no. our
This is
kids-
how we do it.
Yeah. This is how. I mean, if anything, I
Is
want to be
homeschool even
more.
really school?
Yeah.
It's school.
Will
Like,
they even be smart?
Exactly.
so I know we had to
And
have.
we haven't even had the conversation
Yes.
about university yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Because he's like, university is a
University.
must.
Now.
University is
Yeah.
optional.
School of life.
It's a fight for another. That's
Another 10 years down the road.
So the way I'd say
Yeah.
to deal with that is we had to truly talk it out completely. Talk it out to where I
Like
felt,
in one date night?
Oh my goodness!
Oh
Yo,
my goodness.
I think it's still a conversation that comes up once in a while.
Yeah.
No.
But for months.
But for
Yeah.
months,
Yeah.
we did. Yeah, and we even tried different things. I remember we tried taking Abby to school just to try and really still talk out to where we
Is
would
this
get
working?
unit.
Yeah.
Is this
Or is
working?
it
Is this
settling?
yeah? And y'all, I have to say, I had to eat some humble pie because I saw the value of what Anna was saying. And for me, the point that sold me was she wanted to do homeschooling. She wanted to be the teacher. And I had to come to a place of agreeing with her that
whether you fully understood it or
I
not.
may not understand
Yeah.
because I see the benefit of formal schooling.
Yeah.
I see, I mean, I enjoyed it,
You're proud
right?
of
I
it.
see, I was
Yeah.
proud
Yeah.
of it, but I'm seeing the value also. And it was a toss-up, and I had to fight it. I had to work to where I wouldn't have my way because I'm the man. I'm saying it.
And that's my question. Did you resent Anna? Did you fight with Anna? How did you go to bed with Anna at night? I mean, like, literally, you don't know how it is to get in bed with someone that you're just like, I don't agree with you. You're wrong. You're wrong about this. And you're wrong and you're stubborn. And it's like, don't cross the line. And if you're saying it took months, then how did y'all stay friends? Through months.
Yes.
Well, I don't agree.
And I think the reality of marriage is, not even when it comes to children, but when it comes to anything, there can be seasons of tension.
Major seasons.
I mean, not for us,
I mean,
because
of
we
course,
just handle
not
everything.
because they're perfect.
Yeah,
exactly.
Never had that.
But not a day of tension.
That was a joke for anyone listening.
Not a day, not a week, not a month. There can be seasons of tension. And one of the things...
Wrestling.
Yes, exactly. And I think we've learned how to go through that season and not make it what the entire marriage is about.
Yeah.
Like, there are times this conversation's important and we're going to have it. But there are also times
we have to compartmentalize a little.
Yes, when it comes to a lot of these issues, we don't need to make an immediate decision. So let's pause.
Yes.
And pick it up again tomorrow. Like, I do think
you
as
agree
well.
together to be able to do that.
Yes, I do think there are ways you can manage those seasons of tension.
True.
And I know also how you do that is so important.
That
you're not going through. You're not going through it resentful. You're not going through it manipulative,
forceful. Yes,
forceful.
Exactly.
I think the way you
you're bulldozing your way to agreement.
Yes, and that's what I think for me. What has always been underlying with Anna and I has been a mutual respect. Like, I genuinely respect her. Like, even if I hold so strong to my idea, her idea still matters. Like, I can't just bulldoze my thought and say, you know what, the way fights once is the way fights. This is what will happen.
The way fights grow
I am
up
the captain.
is the way our children will grow up.
Yeah.
The way I schooled is the way they'll school.
So I have to give her that respect, that honor, that she also we are a team, and what she says needs to be thought through, needs to be
and I like when you said you had to eat some humble pie.
It
also matters not to be like
and actually I was about to say that, because when it came to schooling, for example, we had to come to a point where a decision was made. And so I think the work of agreement, that's what a lot of people don't want to
get into.
It's not easy and quick.
So exactly, because agreement I've learned is usually not automatic. It's going to take time. It's going to take some tears. It's going to take some confrontation. But I remember when we made the decision about Abby, and this is just one example, but we made the decision about Abby and where she'd go to school. I was the one. I mean, we started her off in formal school, and I was the one who said, "Okay, let's try." You know, also, it's not a decision we're making for the next 20 years of her life. In fact, we've made a pact. 1 year at a time. 1 year at a time. When it comes to our kids' education, 1 year at a time. After that year in school, we're truly going to assess if we're happy with what this looks like, and what it's doing for her, how it's affecting her, how it's affecting our home, how it's affecting our relationship, how it's affecting our money. Are we happy? So I think that first year of school, I was the one who agreed to what it is Baita wanted.
So now, Anna, as a wife, you're doing something that you're not comfortable with,
right?
You know, you've agreed to do, but maybe it wasn't your preference,
right?
Honestly, Anna, how did you go through that? Maybe, I don't know how long was she in school? A year. How did you go through that year without making every single thing, like she came home with a scrap on her finger, and it's like, you see, Baita, you see, you know, and it's like, even though I've agreed, I'm still resentful, and I'm using everything why you see, Baita, you see this would have never happened if we would have done it my way. Like, you know, just not making it that kind of a
I think in that case, I don't think that's true agreement. Like, I wouldn't even think of that as true agreement. The Bible says, how can two walk together unless they agree? And I do think there's a part of agreement that is submission, right?
Letting go.
Exactly. You know, it's surrender. There's a part of that's surrender. There's a part of agreement that's sacrifice. And I feel like getting there together is so important. Like, I haven't come to the point where I feel forced. I didn't feel that way when Abby was in school for a year. I think by the time we got to that decision, I truly felt this is something we're trying. And of course, there were moments where I'd look at Faita and be like,
I'm not sure this is the right thing.
This is the way we want to move forward. Yeah, of course. You know, school and every couple's decision is different. But for our Abby, we just kept looking at each other throughout the year. And thankfully, Faita was also humble enough to look at it honestly. And by the time that year was over, we said, you know what? Let's try homeschool next.
And just see.
And even homeschool, we've said a year at a time. We're on year 3 now, but I don't know if we're going to do it forever. So I think sometimes...
And I'm loving it. Let me be honest. Like that's what I'm saying. I had to take humble pie. I'm loving my kids being in homeschool. Like,
and it's not for everyone, but it works for us.
It does.
And I think it's just as long as y'all said at the beginning, like what we're keeping at the top here is our friendship.
Exactly.
You know, even as we're making these big life decisions for our family.
It's so true.
We are friends. We're on the same side.
We're on the same side. And I was also going to say, when it also comes to things you're arguing about when it comes to the kids, and I'm not trying to over spiritualize this, but I think what matters overall is ultimately what the two of you value. Because if we're trying to do it God's way, if we're trying to do it by God's word, God's truth, God's perspective, God's standard, like if that's the value we both embrace, I believe that God will give us the wisdom to make the decisions needed.
Will lead you to that place.
And I think it's a very broad topic, because I feel like too what we're arguing over, especially when it comes to our children and how we feel led to parent them, at the end of the day, it's so important that our value systems are the same. That our worldview is the same. That the way we see their future is the same. That what's important is the same. That what we prioritize is the same. And of course, in its workings now, you know, that's where the contention can come. But I feel like that's always helped us with the final decision. Is we've started from the same basic values.
What do we agree on first?
And it's very similar to what we talked about, I think, in our first episode about cross culture. You know, even just in our marriage, our friendship, when we're at odds, you know, and we're just we just see it differently. What has been the decider for us is, what is the cross culture? What is the Lord saying? You know, because we're both believers.
No other way to put it.
And so if it's like, this is what I think, then we just both come back to, what is the Lord saying?
Let's set what we think as well.
What is the Lord saying? Or who of us is closest to what the Lord is saying?
And then let me throw this out as well. I mean, while of course our value system, you know, needs to be shared, and we're approaching our children from a biblical worldview. That matters. But I would also say there are so many couples who've done this before you. Seek counsel. When we were deciding on school, we talked to a lot of couples years ahead of us who did both. And so we also sought counsel where we couldn't agree. We were like, okay, let's get other people to kind of weigh in, give us their perspective, their opinions, their wisdom, and that helped as well. Because
it probably helps your friendship too, because it's not just you against me.
Exactly.
Now we're hearing a lot of opinions, but you're hearing that it's other people also hold this. So it's not just Anna who thinks this. It's like, even other people think that's so true. Or Anna hearing, oh my gosh, even other people think that, you know, formal school is good. So it kind of relieves the pressure of it's just you who thinks this.
Things like discipline. Because that can be that can be, especially in these younger years, that I know that can be something that a lot of couples disagree over. Is what should discipline look like in the home? I'm like, seek some counsel. You know, talk to couples way ahead of you, couples whose homes you admire. You know, and really don't go to Instagram, Facebook. Like, don't go there for advice. Talk to couples.
And that is so vital, because I just think it's so critical. And this, whoever's listening, whether you have kids, you're married, you're single, it doesn't matter. It's just such a huge thing of receive counsel where you can see the fruit. Receive counsel from where you can see the fruit of that counsel. Because a lot of what we're observing on social media, we don't see those people's lives. We don't really know if it's working. If what they're claiming works.
Exactly. It will just be content.
It literally just could. And that's why it's like you, I love what you just said, you know, and this is why, honestly, we started off in our intro by saying, y'all have had a marriage that we've looked at and said, we want it to look like that as well. Or, you know, I cannot tell you how many times, Anna, I look at your kids and I'm like, your kids are so well behaved and they're so sweet.
Yeah,
and
when you've had them over,
yes,
you've taken them out.
Thank you, Lord.
Honestly,
keep them like that through all the
no,
years.
let me say something. Yes, we do thank the Lord.
Yes.
But that is a testament of parenting.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm
unity.
Yes. And working it out and all of that stuff. And so I think it's very vital when you're looking for that counsel on.
I agree.
Go for counsel where you can see the fruit you want to eat. Not just someone who's talking the talk. Because all of us will find the guy who agrees with us on Instagram.
Of course.
We'll
Gentle
all find him.
Yes. They might not necessarily
bias,
be perfect, but at least they're demonstrating.
Exactly.
Yes.
In fact, me and Faita have a list of couples.
Yeah.
This is just a hack.
Yeah.
We have a list of couples, and we did this early on in our marriage, but we made a list of couples that we've interacted a lot with over the years.
Yeah.
And the thing about their marriage that we
You
admire the most, and that's who we seek out when we need counsel in a certain area.
That's so smart.
I just think it's so important to use.
So what'd you put us down for, guys?
You're incredible.
Food?
No,
Menu
I was
planning?
going to say you're
on the spot.
incredible. What's it called? Celebrities? How you've handled the celeb,
the fame.
the fame, the spotlight.
So next
Now
time,
you're
Anna,
being
you're
celebrity.
struggling with being a celeb.
Totally.
That's so good.
So, but
Yeah.
can I also
Yeah.
add, because I think it has to be said, because so many times when we are at those crossroads, one of the things that Anna and I actually agree, and even Anna has to say that the way we've structured our home, the way we've seen it in scripture, is a husband leads. So she literally would turn to me and say, "What is the Lord saying?" So you pray.
Oh, you better
so
have
'cause
the word of the
So
Lord.
many times
Yeah,
it's
the
true.
weight
The
of that
decision
one.
may not necessarily be. It's one decision. It's have you gone before the Lord?
Yeah.
Have you sought this decision?
Yeah.
I will follow you into this decision.
Yeah.
But
And
I
think
need
it's
that
just-
confidence.
I need the
Yes.
confidence
that you've truly
you
heard
have
from the Lord about it.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, so
And the minute you confirm that, it's
Exactly.
so much easier.
And I think
to follow.
I mean, of course, with being mom and dad, but honestly, that is truly husband wife.
Yes.
Because even in our marriage, there have been so many decisions we've maybe not seen it eye to eye, or we have
Yes.
a definite idea. But I always tell Allan, I just have to have the confidence.
Yes.
I have to know
exactly.
that you are following God.
Yeah.
Yes.
That you can look me in the eye and tell me,
Yes.
Rebekah, I truly believe this is
Yes.
where God is leading us,
True.
because that's the vow I made, is I'll follow you.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
As you
As you
follow
follow
Christ.
Christ.
In fact,
So I just need to know you're following Christ.
Exactly. There was
Exactly.
a few weeks back. Anyway, long story, but the Lord prompted me to fast for 7 days. This was a few weeks, maybe months back now. But he prompted me to fast for 7 days, and I remember what I was fasting for was something very specific. So over those 7 days, it's amazing that the Lord only talked to me about marriage.
Wow.
And that's not what I was fasting about. In fact, I was like, Lord, I'm not sure you have this right. Exactly. This wasn't even what I was bringing before you, but okay, let's go. And I remember one of the things the Lord told me in those 7 days was, and it's interesting how what I was praying for, the key to that was this.
Wow.
It's true.
But the Lord told me, Anna, when you resist Faita, you resist me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like literally, I am the word of the Lord to you through your husband.
Yeah.
Now again, I know
Yes.
that can
be
It can-
received
it's
so
so
differently,
different.
depending on so
Exactly,
many factors.
but when it comes to us, I just felt like that the Lord was so clear that Anna, when you actually, because there were areas, I mean, not every, but those small areas in my life where I would just resist what he was asking or what he was
sensing,
or how he was leading. And it's like, Anna, when you're resisting him, you're actually resisting me. And there has to be a trust that he's heard the word of the Lord and you're to follow. And that doesn't mean you're not to have an opinion. That means you're not to challenge or have a conversation or like, of course, I'm not now saying we go to the other extreme, but ultimately if the decision has to be made, you'll never go wrong submitting
It's true.
submitting to Faita. So anyway, just something that the Lord was really challenging me about on such a private level.
And it's a big responsibility for me as well.
Man, this has been so good.
So good,
We hate to be coming to the end.
I know.
But before we close out, we'd just love to hear some parting shots, some closing thoughts.
Okay.
Just a couple.
Yeah, just a couple of thoughts.
I see what you did there. I see what
Just
you
a
did
couple
there.
of closing thoughts.
Okay. I I wanted to say a few hacks that I thought even
hacks from Pastor Baita.
Small hacks that have helped. I feel like have helped me going on this journey of raising kids as well as just enjoying my wife. I know we talked about earlier about having a full day. You've gone to work, you're tired, and then you come home and you're given kids. I mean, to be honest,
welcome home.
Can I be honest? Just to the men, imagine stretch. Just be willing to stretch, because the reality is she's been home the whole day with kids. Like it's as much
talking
work.
Baby talk.
Exactly.
Tell me about it.
It's been as much work for her as I've had work, and it's the opportunity for me to help her out, but also it's only a few hours. For us, for example, it's only until 8. And then I get to spend time with her. When by the time 8 comes, she'll still have some energy for me. Because if you go through 8 to 8 with kids, by the time 8 p.m. comes, you're totally wiped. You know? And so for me, it's be willing to stretch. For men especially. Because we do come home. You want that rest. You want to put up your feet up.
And drink tea and watch news.
But the reality is, you stretching gives you guys more time later. So be willing to stretch.
Maybe gives her a little few minutes as well to,
exactly.
take off the head on it.
Exactly.
Take a shower.
Exactly.
You'll enjoy your time with her a
You
little
will.
more.
Exactly. You'll want to see her later.
If I smell good.
Yeah.
It's more insensitive.
And the second one is really a simpler, just a hack, right? I don't have to wait. I've found I don't have to wait until 8 p.m. to be with Anna. Let me explain. There's things that I do during the day, that we do during the day, that even in those moments, I can flirt with her. And it doesn't have to be, it can be romantic, but it doesn't have to be separate.
Yeah, from what we're doing
even
during the
you
day.
can be dad and husband simultaneously sometimes.
You have to be smart about
it. Like for example, we are a dancing family. Like we put something on TV and just want to dance together. And as we dance, and it's silly dances, it's nothing to, but we love dancing. But I will always try and bring Anna in because it's moments of I can flirt with her as we are playful, because we love being playful and
laugh.
Just be silly, so we play together, we enjoy each other. So those are moments
catch each other's eye over the kid's head.
Exactly. It's like let her tease me about my, because I'm a terrible dancer, but because she's an amazing dancer. Like I want those moments. So don't also now just move into we'll only build at 8 p.m. There are simple things that you can do.
You're doing all day.
That's good.
Yeah, because I mean, and my final thought is build on friendship.
Yeah.
For us, if there's anything I can just tell couples out there, parents out there, build on your friendship. Because when all other things are removed, the sex is removed, the business is removed, the money is removed, the moments, tense moments are removed. What is at the bottom is what is really the plain level foundation. If it's friendship, you will always know how to build back up. You will always find a way to build back up. So that's why for us, a friendship over anything. We will have tense moments, we will have great moments, and at the end of it all, what we always say, we are friends. I mean, every time we are friends.
That's
and
awesome.
So, build on friendship. That's how I'd finish.
Best friends forever.
She really is my friend.
Yeah.
And let me just read a quick scripture as well. Psalms 128:3. I love the scripture. It says, your wife will be like a fruitful grapevine flourishing within your home. Your children will be like vigorous young olive trees as they sit around your table. I love the scripture, and what I feel when I read it is that I can't overlook the fact that home is meant to be a high priority. Like it says, your wife will be a fruitful grapevine flourishing within your home. The role of wife, the role of mother, the role of husband, the role of father, it is meant to be a high priority. And it's the specific place we're actually called to flourish. Not the only place, perhaps, but I feel one of the most important places that we're called to flourish is in that role as wife and mother, is in that role as husband and father. And again, I feel like so many times things, we're so conscious about flourishing as a career woman or flourishing as a
content creator.
Ooh. Yeah, you know that life. Or flourishing, I don't know, as a
minister.
As a minister. But I love the scripture because what it's doing is it's reminding us home is meant to be such a high priority, and home captures all of the things that we've been talking about, which is our relationship first. Yeah. And so, I just feel
I love it as well. I've just thought about it now that, your wife will flourish in the home. Home is not where we're diminished.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of times that's what we can feel is I'm diminished. I've lost myself.
I'm unseen.
I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm just someone's mom. And I guess someone's cleaner. And I guess I'm just here to change diapers. And it's like, but home is not where I'm diminished.
Exactly.
Home is where I can flourish.
Yes.
Like, I think of flourishing as like, I can be the best version of me.
Right.
Like in the home.
Oh, yeah. And
because I know we've talked about it a couple of times, and this is someone who doesn't have kids yet, but it's so easy for me to give the best of what I have or feel like I am the best out there.
Exactly.
Out there.
But it's like
out there you give the most, and at home you give the least.
Yes. And, so for someone like me, I mean, I do a lot of events at church. I do a lot of deco. I do a lot of planning. Yeah. And I remember 1 year into our marriage, I was so convicted because I came home and Allan was like, "What are we eating?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Forage in the kitchen.
No, we do, but it was just the challenge of I had literally that day come from planning a 6-month calendar for the church.
Right.
And then I come home and I don't even have a plan for tonight. And I'm not talking about the one-off night. I was like, it's just how I was living. I was winging it all the time. Yeah. And I just sat back and I'm like, I'm literally giving the best of my talents and abilities out there. Because somehow in here, it feels like it's less than. It's not as important here.
Or it's yet unseen. Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. Home is unseen. Yeah. It's unseen by most.
Nobody sees how talented I am.
Exactly.
These little alphabets I'm cutting out for these children.
No one applauds you.
Keep those bouquets of flowers coming.
Well, honestly, we applaud you guys.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you.
And it's true, Anna. Oh, I'm going to cry. It's true we don't see what you're doing, but the truth is, Anna and Faita and all the parents out there, we do see what you're doing because we see your children. Yeah. And when these kids come in, and I'm telling y'all, I'm not just saying this because they're my nieces and nephews. I literally just have to brag on these parents. These are the sweetest children. Yeah. They are so obedient. They are so gentle. They're so kind. They see others. And I'm like, that
can only be so nature. Because of
that's
all
not
them.
Human nature. That's not natural in us. That is because
that's true.
And that's what I'm saying. We see it. We see what you're doing in those children.
Yeah, the evidence of it.
It might feel unseen, but it's like that's the fruit right there. Is those precious kids. I mean, I love babies. I've always loved babies, but I have never loved children. Once they start talking, I'm like,
goodbye.
I'm done.
And they start asking why, when, how. And I was so nervous when y'all had kids because I was like, the babies? Oh, give me the babies. The little, rock them to sleep. I have such a touch to put children to sleep.
Yes, you do.
I love feeding them. Oh my gosh, I love it. But I was so nervous on, oh my gosh, when these children start talking, I'm going to have to hang out with them because I'm their auntie. I love hanging out with those kids. They are fun. So much
That's so fun. Such a relief to hear. We're doing something right.
And that's what I'm saying. All those days, all that fruit, all of you mamas, Anna and all the mamas listening, we do see it. It is being seen. So.
Thank you for that.
Thank you
for having us.
No, for sure. It's been so rich for us.
Yes.
And we know that it's been rich even for the listener, for the viewer. So many things to take away, to build on.
Thank y'all for being so open and so real. It's so good.
Absolutely.
So privileged.
And on that wonderful note, thank you for sticking with us. We hope to see you on the next episode. If you haven't yet, follow the page, find us on the socials. Just a Couple of Thoughts podcast, Rebekah Dawn, Allan Sucre. The fighters are somewhere in the socials.
We won't even bother. We won't even tell you guys to follow them because they're not there. So just
they're there, but not there. But thank you for hanging around with us, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
God bless.